And I am working with Ossipee Valley Mutual Aid for this grant, so maybe the broader we make it, the more we can get.
And what's the capital reserve? You have capital reserve fund for
Yeah.
100,000?
We don't have one. I would like to get one. This would be for the infrastructure for the communications for the towers, to begin upgrading and eventually having it all work in a simulcast system. 2 channels, north and south. We currently only have one, so that's where you get a lot of the patrols walking over each other. You have a lot of dead spots on the radio in some of the areas, Chatham, Tuftonboro, Effingham, depending on what side of the mountain they might be on. So this is all upgrades to microwave dishes to ensure that it's the best possible emergency communications available for the whole county. And the total bill that we have right now, that is looking at, is about $250,000 to get that in full installation. And
Tell us more about the towers. We lease those towers?
yes,
We can't purchase them?
no, I think they're on property, so private.
I think
We own this one,
Yeah.
but that's it.
So the other one is the one that we have to lease? But it's the lease for the land that the towers are on, not the towers themselves.
Basically.
Release space on the
That space.
We have,
Through the property owner, basically, the
Yeah.
tower owner.
it's pretty expensive to construct your own tower.
Yeah.
The lease for, I mean, I think it's, one, we're looking at $5,000 a year is relatively inexpensive.
Okay. All right, any further questions on his expense side?
Yes, just what was last year's total budget approved?
801,
801,955.
801,
955.
955.
And my figures is $360,000 increase, mainly because of the 300 and some thousand update for the 4 servers, console servers.
Again, I mean, that's 225, and then the capital reserve is 100, which would be a project I would like to see completed by 2016. So, if that gives you any idea.
Thank you very much.
Right.
At our
Representative?
delegation meeting recently, there was brief discussion about charges for optional costs to local departments, and I was just wondering, if we get some more information about that and where that fit into this budget proposal, what the town cost that you sent out actually applies to and for.
Yeah, we actually didn't send out any cost to each town. They researched that on their own, or were supposed to. That was a presentation done by TriTech, which is the reporting system for the police agencies in this county. The only one not doing that same reporting system is the state. They bought into a different reporting system. So everybody is on this TriTech, which used to be IMC. And this is for upgrades to that, which would enable us to be the hub center for all that data entry coming into the sheriff's office. Every town would have access to that same data entry. So if Conway stops someone or arrests someone, that entry comes into us. And Tuftonboro or Moultonboro could obtain that entry by running the same name.
It's real time data,
Yeah.
so you can see it as it's happening.
There would be initial cost to some departments. Moultonboro would probably be the least of the departments because they are the most advanced as far as what they already have for the tri-tech. Someone like Ossipee, I think, had a figure of about $24,000 to upgrade enough to be able to do that. So, and someone like Conway would probably cost very little, because they have most of a very upgraded dispatch.
So this is a console
So this is...
in the town?
No, it's a software, is what it
Okay,
is.
software on a computer
Yes,
run in the town,
yes.
and it's an upgrade to the software for that town.
Right, mostly for us, and then the town would have to get, they would have options to how much they want to buy into. And eventually, like I said, this could go into the patrol units to see real-time data and activity on the radio.
Okay, let's move into revenue.
The rate fees will leave the same. It looks as though we're right on board to maybe, to at least hit that, if not go a bit over.
Forestry service is up a little, about $600.
That was the money that we got last year.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not sure where that mistake was. That was 12-1 is what was given to us, so
Okay.
I'll stay with that. Whether or not that grant is changed by them, I have no idea.
Okay. And court bailiffs?
Court of Bailiffs was 116,040, and I'm projecting 109.
So you're gonna be down 5,000.
Yeah. And that is a closer figure from what the AOC provided me, Department of Courts.
Why is it going down?
Because again, I think during last year's budget, the figures got a bit confused, and the 116,040 was a number appropriated, which included the money that the county is giving for the $5 a day for each bailiff. So I'm gonna do the right thing and
Going in one pocket and out the other, basically, in that accounting. You're counting the $5 that we had paid the,
they did last year. We shouldn't
Okay.
have, right, because that's not reimbursable.
Yep. All right, special details.
Again, this is last year's figure. We have shot over that figure. And again, it's, you really can't tell what you're gonna get for commercial details.
Can you say no to a special detail?
Yeah, you could. It may not get called again.
bigger question, we've listened for years that you're making money on special details. If you're taking in 3520 and spending 3520, where's this imaginary profit?
I don't see it. It goes in the general fund, sir.
Well, you have it here, if it goes in the general
figures-
fund, you have it here on
The
your
figures
show.
that are charged during a commercial detail have in that a cost factor as far as the business office, to include the wages for the deputy, to include all the taxes for that
Right.
deputy.
Yeah.
And there's usually money left over that would most likely the cost of the business office doing that work.
Well, there's supposed to be a difference. I mean, we've gone around and around and around with Sheriff Carroll.
And then when you use a vehicle, that
It's supposed to be $5 or $6 or
detail
$7
wage goes
an
up
hour.
when a vehicle is used.
Right.
So it does cover some of the cost of the
Mhm.
fuel. which goes back into the general fund.
Are we competitive with other police departments?
I have just raised, just last month, just 2 weeks ago, the detail rate, $5 across the board, to include the wage, to include the cruiser. And that has brought us up to the higher medium for the county.
Can you assure us that we're not losing money on
Details?
details?
I cannot scientifically ensure you that. As far as I have not done a cost, how much gas is being used by that idled cruiser.
Well, how about
How much
how
gas
about when the deputy leaves his home in Wolfboro and it's a special detail in Conway? Is it the taxpayer paying for that gas to get him up there? He's not being reimbursed for the time when he leaves his house.
You're
By the construction company.
It isn't
The
being-
amount of money you're losing is the gas that's getting him up there.
Well, we shouldn't be
He's
losing
not, he's not
anything.
getting paid a wage to get up there.
We shouldn't be losing anything. We should be
I
making.
I can't drop him out of the sky to get him there.
I think if you look at it overall, I think the county is making money because of that administrative fee on top of it. If we
The
go
question is,
up,
where would that show up?
it goes, I believe, we can have a better answer for you, but it
Seems
goes,
like it would show up under revenue.
it should. But I don't know, we've continued it the way it's been done in the past, and maybe that needs to be looked at and modifying that.
Because again, you don't know how many you're gonna get. You don't know what type you're gonna get, whether it needs a cruiser or not. He could get
True.
to the, if it's a detail where the cruiser isn't needed, where he's going into a facility to stand guard or whatever, you're not getting any gas reimbursement for that,
Right,
or very little.
yeah.
But
So-
Sheriff, your guess is the same on both of these. It's 3520 and 3520, either you got the car or you don't have the car. If one has the car and one doesn't have the car, there should be a difference, and there isn't.
But we don't know.
There should be, I can't sign, I can't.
You can't.
I don't care that they're on
Pinch that penny.
details, but,
Yeah.
and as long as we're not paying any, increasing their retirement for them,
No.
and as long as that's being taken care of, and I think the new law took care of that. But we should, my goodness, we shouldn't be just breaking even on this.
No, and I don't think you are, sir. Without doing a lengthy study for some time to figure out, okay, what was that detail? Have the deputy write down his beginning mileage, ending mileage. It'd be, and then how can you say, if the needle doesn't move, he used some gas, how much gas was that? I mean, without running on empty
Yeah.
from end to
Who,
end.
who bills out? Sheriff's Department bills the,
Sheriff's still out, yes.
okay. And when that money comes back, it should show up as revenue.
Yes.
Shows
When
revenue
when you
going
talk
into the
about
fund.
goes into the general fund.
Yes, it does.
But where? It should show up under your budget as revenue. Where, what happens to it after that is fine, but these two figures are the same.
Yep.
And the revenue should be more, because we're making money on the
Yes,
detail.
You're correct, yes. as far
So
as that.
somewhere
Yeah,
there's
I will
something
relook at that,
needs to be looked at. Okay.
Can we do a
because it
quick,
doesn't go directly to business.
It goes in,
Some
and we
do.
send a check
Yeah.
over. No, he's right, we need to look at
Yeah.
that, yeah.
can we do a quick one, Sheriff?
Yep.
What's the rate per hour you charge with a car? 50-something?
65.
65. What's the, per hour? What's the guesstimate on what that deputy is making with time and a half without benefits?
He's getting paid, for that detail, he's getting paid the detail rate,
Which is,
so he's making $40.
okay, that's what I want to know.
Yeah.
So we got $40. That
With a-
leaves us with $25 right there. And that doesn't take in his retirement, his social security, his medical payment.
Right, that's in that $25.
Mhm.
That's in the missing $25. What can we take out of that? Another $6, $7, $8 an hour?
Right.
Right what, right 8?
I don't have it
Take
right in
eight.
front of me, so
Now we're down to 17.
there is a formula.
And
You got gas out of that, right?
get gas, we don't know the wear and tear on the vehicle, we don't know anything. I would hope at $65, we're making a little bit of money.
Yeah. I'm almost certain you are, but can I?
I think over the years, it's
Testify to that?
average, that the county makes an average somewhere between $7 and $10 an hour off of a detail without, getting.
But I will relook at what we've taken in on commercial details this year and most likely change that figure in revenue
Yeah.
to
Should.
to resemble that.
Okay.
Okay,
All right. You got your questions answered?
yes.
Okay. What about grant funds? You got in there 210,000.
Well, that's what I'm hoping for. Again, those are the unknowns.
What
As
was it
far
last
as-
year, please?
Where's my grant? Was 10,000.
10,000.
And you're looking for 210?
Yes.
If you find it, you're gonna get a new job around here.
Well, again, that's where we'll be applying for the Homeland grant for that communication. That's what that
Mhm.
is talking about. And the emergency grant was another one.
So you're hoping to
Yes,
get
from Andrew.
almost 2/3 of that new
Yes.
radio expense out of grants?
That's, we can only hope.
Okay, yeah,
That's a projection. And the 3 radars, that's a half-cost grant, so that's that 3750 would be included in that.
Okay.
Okay, so you got Albany contractors at 20.
Yeah, without speaking to the selectmen at this point, to see if they want to change that or not, so.
You got other income.
That was 500, I believe.
7,000.
Yeah, it's 500. You got up to 1,000.
Yes, most of that is through the juvenile transports that we provide. The state reimburses for that.
You do.
And right now, we've taken in almost 4,000.
Yes, and again, that's, you never know what kind of year you're gonna have. And as you can see, witness fees and reports that we may bill for, that have to go out.
You gonna have any vehicles for sale
I
next year?
did put vehicle sales, but I was just advised that that may have gone into the general fund. So I did want to discuss that maybe later. As far as future vehicle sales, I believe that should show up on ours as other income.
Yeah,
Whether we use it or not, that would be up to you.
yeah.
Witness fees, what are they?
If a deputy
Pay 'em
has...
to answer the question right, or?
Yeah. Now, if a deputy's off duty and has to go to court, he submits to the state for a witness fee. He'll get paid his wage per the contract, and then the witness fees come back to the sheriff's office for partial reimbursement, basically.
Okay, run that by me again, will you please? If he's on duty.
Off duty.
Okay. So he's not working at the
Right.
courthouse.
He's required to go to court to testify.
He gets paid for that.
He gets paid per the contract from the sheriff's department,
Oh,
because it's
okay.
off-duty time.
Oh, okay.
And then the state reimburses their witness fee, which is very minimal.
Okay.
Okay.
So I do project that figure for this year to go up on other income if we are awarded that sale of the vehicle,
Yeah,
as far as showing it anyways.
Yep.
I think we should be.
yep.
And then, next year, there may be more, if that's the case, but
Okay. Dispatch from outside the county?
is Milton Fire, $2,500 fee that they pay.
How many calls do we get from,
I don't
any
have
idea,
that.
From Milton,
from Milton?
Yeah, I don't have that.
I mean, are we,
not inundated with them, but
is it fair both ways?
yeah,
Yeah.
that fee's been
Yeah.
looked at. I checked it, I think it is fair, yes.
And they're more than happy being dispatched through us, more than Stratford.
Okay.
And I did put in there a $50,000 figure, not knowing a figure. As far as the Ossipee Valley Mutual Aid, they may be willing to help with that funding for that upgrade and dispatch.
Yeah, they have in the past,
They
right?
always have in the past. Done more than their fair share.
$50,000?
Well, that's just a projected again. I haven't spoken numbers with them, but they have shown a willingness that they would like to help.
At
Okay.
50,000, I'd be willing to let them help. I mean, is that a realistic figure?
He gave us 25,000 for the, which was half of the furniture.
And they have,
Oh,
I think they have provided a console
Yeah.
in one of those ones 12 years ago.
Okay, so the total sheriff's income was 47,000 for this year's budget, and you're projecting 503 because of,
Mostly grants.
yeah, the grants. Okay,
Which I know Belknap County, I believe, I want to say got about 300,000 through grants on their process.
yeah,
So we will be talking to Sheriff Wigan.
okay. Your budget is gonna be difficult to come up with a percentage because you're basing a lot on grants that you don't have any idea whether you're gonna get or not.
Yes.
But you got a cost estimate under the expense side, and you got a revenue under the revenue side. So,
The cost estimate is pretty accurate. So we've been talking with Ossipee Valley, Ossipee Mountain Electronics
Yeah.
through this whole process, because they're the ones that have pretty much built or been working on this infrastructure with
Yeah.
us through the years. So they have a good handle on what it was. And they are also one of the only, as Mike said, that are a retailer for the consoles that we may purchase. So they have a handle on what it would cost for the equipment and what their labor might entail. So we do kind of have a projected.
at this point in time, none of the other sheriff's departments in the other counties have this set up. They are all putting in money for it?
Again, yes and no.
I mean, what happens if...
Belknap had just, I believe they purchased their consoles.
Oh, they did?
Yeah. And they were awarded grant money to help.
What effect would it have if the delegation turned us down and not wanted to pay the, what was it, 300,000?
Yeah.
yeah.
Again, you're limiting the communications to what we have right now, which, if you listen to some towns, they don't feel it's good enough to come on board with us, or would prefer
Mhm.
not to come on board with us.
Yeah.
Now, which towns are those?
So, you have that.
And then the towns
And
are gonna
then-
have to pick up some of that
And then
cost.
the equipment themselves is becoming obsolete, is obsolete. They're not gonna make parts for it anymore. So you're gonna have to really shop for parts, if you can get them at all. So I guess that's the scenario if they don't.
Okay.
It's been 12 years.
Better have some good documentation, I guess.
Yeah.
It's been 12 years since we bought a new console, and we probably should have been putting some money aside for, instead of waiting till the end date. But the delegation has traditionally not wanted a capital reserve for that.
Mhm.
So now this is what we're looking at.
And again, I mean, it's not unrealistic because every county is doing it or has done it. The state itself is looking, or is in the works to update their communications, because it's
Mhm.
just, it's not good enough.
Yeah.
So,
Now, if we upgrade our communications center here, does that mean we have to update our trailer too, our command center?
no,
Nothing happens with that?
no, no. We, whatever updates are there, we can take care of what we have in the budget already. Because I believe we are swapping out one of the mobile radios that's in that
Yeah,
with one of the newer ones that we took out of the cars.
okay. Okay, any further questions? We're gonna have to look at this budget.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty close.
We will.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, Sheriff. Try to find out what other counties are doing. You have a sheriff's meeting coming up
2 weeks
in 2 weeks? Try to find out what they're doing for this
Priya.
Prius, yeah.
Yeah, put that on the agenda. Thank you.
What was that second deputy's name that sent to check at the other one?
What's that?
What was the second deputy's name that sent to check at the other one?
De Jong.
The younger one?
Young,
De Jong.
Rick Young. Richard Young. Take a 5-minute recess.
yes. We'll have a 5-minute recess.
Oh, good.
Boy, this time's running by here. I didn't think it'd take that long.
You're a little behind schedule.
I know, by an hour.
An hour 15.
Jailhouse,
This is-
jail and house of corrections?
What is that?
That looks like extra copies, I'd say, because they're all the same.
Is it all the same?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
So is this it only then? This is 10, this is only 2 pages?
That's the full budget, yep.
It's 2 pages.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay, Jason, go ahead.
Maybe.
So for the overtime, budgeted for 18,000 for last year. As of September, we're at 29,000. We had a number of weeks for FMLA and sick leave. When I looked at it last time, we had about 80 weeks of leave that had been used. So
That is
that being said, that's why we're over budget for that specific line. I'd like to up that to 20,000. I saw last year we spent 29,000.
Yep.
But I'd also like to bring in 2 additional staff. We just don't have the depth to cover back shifts when we're down positions, people out at the academy, have people out on FMLA. We just don't have the positions to backfill shifts without.
Can you hire any part-time people without
Right.
benefits?
I can do that. We don't certify them. There is the ability to do it, but we wouldn't certify them.
So if you don't certify them, is it required to be certified?
For full-time employees, yes, ma'am.
So it's not required for a part-time?
No, because we don't have any New Hampshire jail standards.
Oh, okay.
Under ACA standards, we'd have to certify them, but we don't necessarily have to follow ACA standards.
I would say that would be being pound wise and penny wise and pound foolish to try to fill those slots with
Part-time?
part-timers. Unless they're certified somewhere else. and
Oh, no, no.
They're not certified, and it's crazy.
We could certify them.
You'd have to send them to the
I've
academy.
been
Yeah,
sent from the
yeah.
academy. That is
And it would
about,
be hard with a person that has a irregular shift to go to the academy for 5 weeks, because then they'd have another full-time job.
I have a question. You don't have a list of like former correction officers that you can choose from because some
No, because
after all-
most times we don't,
mostly they are.
people don't retire out of our facility. They usually move on to other careers or just quit. So we don't have,
I found one. That's all right. You don't think part-time would be a good idea?
to
To
supplement,
fill
but
in, to fill in for vacation time, sick time, FLMA?
honestly, no. I would rather have a full-time person because then you have people that are certified, they maintain their training. So the use of part-time staff, limited would be good, but not, because we don't have the depth in our staffing plan to cover
Mhm.
these types of positions, I would not want to
Okay,
utilize.
have you got 2 people in your regular budget?
To add 4 in this year, yes, ma'am, yes, sir.
I don't want to be harsh on you, but if you're looking for 2 new positions, then we ought to decrease the overtime down to $5,000 or $10,000.
Okay.
I mean, that's coming from me, I don't know how the rest of you
Well,
feel.
I would assume if we're getting 2 new people, that ought to do something to overtime. Shouldn't increase it.
No. I mean, there may be some times where you need overtime, but, maybe 5,000, but if we're staffing it with another 2 people, if we don't get the 2 people, then we gotta do it.
We have
But if you
4.
get 2 more people, then you should be able to set up shifts so that you get coverage
Mhm,
when somebody goes on vacation or is out sick.
mhm.
I mean, I try to follow what you're recommending, but when I look at the budget, we haven't seen the bottom line yet, but I know we gotta increase it by 10,000 just because of that PRIA deal. But if we're looking for 2 more people, how many you got right now? 32?
32, yeah.
32, so you're gonna have 34.
Mhm.
Is that gonna bring us up to where the recommendation was when the facility was built?
Very close, yes, sir. Mhm.
It's not gonna bring us up to it?
It's going to be within 1 or 2. Mhm.
Okay,
Yep.
all right.
So I have a question. They're running 12-hour shifts, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So if they work overtime, how many hours they work longer? 3, 4, 5,
I can
6
only
hours?
hold somebody for 4 hours, but most of the time, if it's an overtime shift, then somebody's out sick, and we're pulling them in off their days off, and they're doing a 12.
So they working beyond the 12 hours, so they can work like 16 hours.
If they're working and we have to hold them over, we can only hold them over for 4 hours.
4 hours
Mhm.
overtime. That's very long if they have to work 16 hours.
Mhm.
And you already check it that you can do that, that they can work 16 hours?
Mhm.
How many times do they get a break if they work 16 hours?
It varies. I mean, scheduled breaks, we don't take scheduled breaks per se.
Goes by the union
It-
contract, right?
We don't have scheduled breaks within the union contract. They have their lunch, they have their meal time. But we don't take scheduled breaks as per se, like for every 3 hours, you don't get 15 minutes off. It's flexible.
Is there such a thing as a floater? And in other words, one of these people that you're gonna be hiring,
Mhm.
the 2, one of the 2, could they be a floater so that they could pick up vacation time for somebody else? That kind of a thing, so that we wouldn't need overtime as much?
Sure, if we have a shift that's heavy and somebody's gonna take a vacation, we'll rearrange the schedules to cover that shift without using overtime.
Okay,
Mhm.
okay.
You're talking about really a flex time employee. that Jason could say, okay, this week you gotta work Tuesday
Yeah.
and Wednesday and Thursday and Friday at a different time.
And it has to be in a job description,
Yeah.
so that they don't, when they're hired to fill that position, it's already in the job description that they're going to be a flex person and have to fill in somewhere different times,
Okay.
I think. All right, let's go.
Under administrative salaries, increased it to 530,699, and that's because we took some of the people that were in the regular salaries and moved them up. You'll notice that for the adopted budget, under the regular salaries, it was 870,487, and it's down to 818,159.
Yeah.
So that's where you see the increase in the administrative salary.
Who went up?
Uh,
Two people?
Sergeant Baker is up in there, Sergeant Duguay is up in there, and Sergeant Phillips is in the administrative salaries.
So 3 people moved up?
Nursing salaries is 201,273.
Now, let me back up a little bit. There are no increases in here yet, or are there some
No,
increases?
sir, there's no increases. Nope.
Okay. And we just wait for the union contract too, that'll jump it up.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. And anything, again, like the sheriff said, anything that was based on wages, that's where you'd see your increases.
Okay. Yep.
So the salary line is, again, 818,159. Social Security, $18,565. Mental health salary, we continue to zero that out.
Yep.
Can we just remove that at some
We have
point,
to
or-
wait a certain number of years.
5 years.
Is it 5
before
years?
we can move
Okay.
it.
The medical insurance, that's down from 456,597 to 448,273.
Change in plans?
In the local trust, Kathy gave me the numbers. I believe I have 10 on family, 11 on single, and like 8 on two family.
Two family.
Two-person, sorry. Retirement expense is $329,959. Workers' compensation remained the same at $30,000.
Excuse me, Jason.
Yes.
Retirement, I know we have no control over it, but people ought to know, it's up $100,000.
No.
Oh, excuse me, I was
No.
looking at the wrong. It's up,
It's up,
it's up 34,000.
Oh, okay, yep.
yeah.
Still a good jump.
Yeah, it is.
It's 25.3% for Group 2, and so 11.9% for Group 1. I'm trying to remember the calculation.
And it's split something like 16%, 9%, right?
For county and
Yeah.
employee.
Okay.
30,000, I'm sorry, we did the workers' comp at 30,000, that was level, same as last year. Unemployment tax, that went from 8,580 to 8,800. Dental insurance went from 7,296 down to 5,184.
Any reason?
Number of people on the plan, and I didn't realize if we have health insurance, that our dental plan is covered, and so I'm gonna have to look into that, unless I was just misunderstanding.
He may have a
that.
different one.
Okay,
The sheriff's department is different than the whole county
okay,
in insurance.
okay.
I mean, he may even have glasses in his. It's a lot better than everybody else's.
Okay.
Okay.
Under education and conferences, it took it from 14,315 and brought it down to 10,000.
Any particular reason?
There were some classes in there that went to SIG last year, and we didn't budget for this year.
Okay.
Medicare expense went from 21,911 to 22,243. Medical services and supplies, I'm going to drop that from 185,954 down to 145,000.
Wait a minute, Jason, hold the fort here. We're looking at, through 10 months, roughly $9,000 a month, is that correct?
That's through,
So we got, let's call it 90,000, we're adding 18,000 to that. And so we will spend this year roughly 100, if these figures are accurate, roughly 100, 208 or $9,000, 108 or $9,000, and you want 145, an increase of that magnitude?
I projected out using this year's figures. I projected out, it brought it to about 145 for next year.
Well, Jason, we've spent, it says here,
Mm-hmm.
with your sheet this morning, $89,000
Yeah.
has been spent. Let's round it off to 90,000,
Okay.
and that's $9,000 a month. 9 times 2 is 18.
Mm-hmm.
90 and 18 are 108,
Mm-hmm.
and yet you're asking for 145. That's a huge increase over what we project as an
Yeah, but-
expenditure this year.
Yeah,
Am I
but go
doing
back
something wrong?
go back to 2011, it was 137, 2012, it was 225.
Right, and then we get the new doctors, and they come in, and they've been reducing medication over there substantially every month.
Okay.
If there's room for a chop, I would say it's right there at some point, if we need to.
Okay. So the projected, we're estimating about 110, just to use round figures, 110 for the end of this year, right? So that would be an area that you'd look at. There's-
Okay. Jason, are there a lot of bills in this line item that aren't paid or don't show up here yet? That
Are we
we've paid,
behind?
expenses that haven't showed here?
No,
Okay.
no. Are you looking at?
We're not looking at a lag where if we really, in the first 2 weeks of November, we might pick up another $10,000 in expenses for October because we just haven't paid the bills and haven't showed them yet.
Well, this is through the end of September, right?
Yeah.
Mine says through the end of October.
This is
If-
1031. Which one you got?
But if you look at the,
10/31.
under
Okay.
the third column over, under actual dollars, it says 930,
Mine says 10/31, 2/13.
does it?
Yeah, that's why I'm suggesting that might be something wrong with your figures.
Thank you.
Doesn't that say 10/31,
Yeah.
2/13?
Yep, I'm looking at my
I
old
got
sheet.
the same
Okay.
one.
My apologies. All right. Now I see where you're
Now you
at.
see what I'm talking about?
Mhm. Yep.
I'm sorry, I thought you were looking at those same figures.
Okay, so we can, I asked for 145, you're projecting roughly around 110.
Yep.
AJ.
You're going-
Maintenance or jail, okay.
Go to 125 just to be protected.
Okay. Now, Jason, under that one, or Superintendent Johnson, under that one, is that the line item that the doctor's bill comes out of?
Mm-hmm,
Is it the pharmaceutical line item also?
mm-hmm. So,
So we could get a prisoner that's got AIDS or something else and gonna require a huge amount of money.
Could.
Um,
So
Yeah.
out of the medical services, you'll have the doctor's fees, you'll have diagnostic fees, so that's if we do any type of x-ray tests, anything along that line. Medication costs, if we have to send somebody out to an outside doctor, ambulance service fees, and any type of medical supplies and equipment.
So you basically have $15,000 cushion at 125. Figuring 110 for the end of the year.
Mhm.
I'm willing to take that gamble.
Okay.
Okay, mental health?
Mental health, dropped it down to 29,000 from 37,920. And the reason we did that is because Dr. Nicholson, one of the doctors, we didn't see a need for him to come in as frequently as we had early this year. So we've adjusted his hours down, so he's only in once a month rather than a couple of times a month. So that was a big part of that cost.
Okay.
So where is that doctor coming from?
Northern Human Services.
Oh, okay. I have a question. What is the other one? There is nothing in. What is the mental health salary again?
We used to have a full-time mental
Nurse?
health clinician. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, inmate programs.
Inmate programs, I'm gonna increase it from 17,460 to 17,500.
Why?
That's gonna give us, we dedicated about $6,000 for GED, and then the program that Sergeant Phillips teaches, that is no cost to us. And then we have anger management and living in balance. Those are structured programs. They run for a dedicated number of hours, and we do them 4 times a year. So we can control the cost that way.
Well, I certainly believe that we need these programs, but something doesn't add up here. You got through 10 months, roughly $1,600 if you amortize it out, roughly another $1,600 on top of that, so you're looking at around $9,000 for the year, and you want 17. Have we not paid any bills?
Yeah, that's,
Am I wrong?
yeah, you're,
So you add another 15 to that, it
Yeah.
would be
8,300, 9,300.
9,300.
I don't want to see the programs cut. I'd
I-
like to see the money spent and used.
Yeah, I do
and
too.
Continue to grow. I just
I'll have to
keep
check.
a good track of it, Jason.
Yeah, I'll check my figures, so it's, I don't understand why there's such a large disparity there.
And I have a question. What is Sergeant Phillips giving? What program is he running?
He runs Thinking for a Change.
What?
Thinking for a Change.
Thinking for a change.
I'll
Is
look at that.
Corporate Extension doing any programs over there now?
We do, we run parenting programs. They haven't done like the money management.
Never
or-
done that?
Yeah, we've only run one parenting program this year.
Okay. But that doesn't come out of the budget?
No.
Is that because they're not available?
The person that we had come up was out of Merrimack County. And I guess got,
Yeah,
Re-
they've restructured,
Restructured.
shuffled around, and
Yep.
as a member of the advisory board for the Cooperative Extension, I'm just interested in whether we've continued to ask and we can't get the help, or we haven't asked.
let me follow up with Ian on that.
Would you please?
Sure. Yep.
I have another question about the program. The GED, you don't have a teacher anymore. Is it online? How
No,
are you
we're
running
gonna,
the GED
we're gonna be
program?
bringing a tutor in. Sergeant Phillips worked with the superintendent of the Governor Wentworth School District, and there's a new tutor that he's gonna bring in.
But in the past, you had a
We-
teacher or not?
We did have a teacher, then we went to an online program, and we found that it wasn't really successful, so,
So you're going back to
To a-
having
a teacher. yes.
Okay, the academy has gone up?
That's to put because last year you wanted to separate out of the education and conferences the cost for certifying officers. So that's the cost to send 8 officers to the Corrections Academy next year.
Okay.
For office supplies, wanted to bring that to $3,084 from $5,300. Dues
Well,
licenses.
you must have changed something somewhere, because in 211, it was 6,000. In 212, it was 4,000.
We,
Is he
This
sure?
year it's gonna be about 2,400.
No, 2,500?
2,500, something
Yeah.
like that.
well, the previous years, we used to have multiple different printers with different ink cartridges and things of that nature, so that we went with a contract with Porter Office Supply.
Mhm.
And so all that toner now is all streamlined. So and the cost of the ink cartridges, as you know, are pretty
Mhm.
expensive, so that's probably where you see the savings.
Okay. Dues, licenses, and subscriptions.
Keep that at $2,500.
Yep. And you got postage at 400?
Yeah, drop that way down. Then other supplies, that covers like the different chemicals that we use to clean the facility, laundry, paper towels, all the support stuff. We also use it for drug testing kits, things of that nature. I'm projecting at $20,000 for that.
Is Joe kind of responsible for that, for those?
For
Their
the,
office supplies, right?
what's that?
I was looking at chemicals, for example. In the office, what chemicals would you use in the office?
Well, we'll buy things like Windex for the windows, floor cleaner for the floors, laundry
Oh.
soap for the laundry, dish soap for the washing the pots and pans, disinfectant to wipe the.
Some of that soap would go into laundry expense, wouldn't it?
No,
No?
that's strictly general linen. That's sending the sheets out.
Okay, yeah. All right.
You just doing other supplies?
Yeah.
Well, here again, it's, if you amortize it out, it's gonna come out to approximately, $18,000, and you're asking for 20. That's a pretty good increase for 1 year.
If you're looking at what was spent, yes. If you're looking at what was budgeted, we're down 2,500, 3,500.
Yep, that's true.
So he's bringing it down. It's still above 211 and 212.
Okay,
All right.
move on.
Supplies for the nursing home.
That one we can look at, because we went to, Mike had found a couple of different websites where we can get paper towels and, not trash bags, what was it? Paper towels, toilet paper, different things like that at a much cheaper rate. So that we can look at not going and getting all of our stuff through the nursing home.
Maybe give that information to the nursing home,
Mhm.
and maybe they can drop things down too.
Okay.
Do you have the website name?
I think it's cleanitsupply.com was the,
Kleenex?
cleanit, CLEANIT, supply.com.
Okay. Chaplain's the same.
Mm-hmm.
Meals is down. How many
We're-
inmates we have in there now?
We had 51 this morning.
51 in-house.
We've been running right around 50 to 55.
And you're basing
We're-
that on
we're spend-
55?
What's that?
What are you basing that on?
I looked at what we've been spending with the nursing home, and it's an averaging right around between $16,000 and $17,000 a month for meals. And then the food costs on top of that, because we got a meal rate and then we buy the food. I want to say $17,000 and then around another $5,000 for food costs over the course of the year.
Somehow, can we work out something, you know, I was talking with, was it Glenn Libby?
Mm-hmm.
And they produce a lot of vegetables. I guess the inmates do most of the gardening.
Mhm.
Do they have a farm supervisor over there? Is he strictly for dairy?
No,
No, they have a good operation up there. They have a huge operation.
But the question I guess I have, and you were there, does Libby do all the supervising for the vegetable? Sounded
Not,
like
not
he
on
did.
the ground. It's left up to somebody. He's got a dairy manager there, and he's got an assistant, and there's gotta be somebody else working the vegetables, because they got miles of potatoes and corn.
Mhm. Okay.
But how many, they have a lot of inmates there, I don't know.
I don't know what
Oh.
Superintendent Levy's count is.
I have
Okay.
I have a question about a chaplain. We don't use chaplain services this year? You didn't use any?
We're between chaplain right now. There was an issue earlier this year where we needed to stop services with the chaplain, and we're between one right now. It's not something that I want to cancel though.
Those meals include employees' meals?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, uniform expenses?
Uniform, we want to do some things with the contract with respects to increasing the boot allowance, but decreasing the base layer shirts that we had in the contract last year. Plus, we have pants that are starting to wear out for the staff, and some of the polo shirts that we bought over the last couple of years are starting to wear out. So we're looking to replace some uniform items for the staff, and that's why you see the increase.
Okay.
The inmate clothing with just the wear and tear, we're running low on some pants, boxers, things of that nature, so we need to bring some new stuff in for the inmates as well.
Can we get some clothes for them when they walk out of the jail in the wintertime?
Mm-hmm.
Did you say that somebody walked out there the other day?
I saw a young lady walking down the street, but she's been released, Jason.
You talked to them already?
I'll talk to him later.
Okay.
What you mean, we're going to purchase clothes for them?
Clothes for, if they come in the summertime, they probably come in with no jacket or sweater, and they're released in the wintertime, you can't, especially those that nobody comes to pick up, they just walk out the door and start walking down the street. And it's 20 degrees out, something, they need to have something.
We gotta start a
Yeah, I understand that.
returnable, not a returnable, but a
Clothing,
clothing drop-off or some such thing, so we can get some in here to give these characters when they leave.
Yeah, but why do we have to purchase it? We can ask for
I
donations.
think
People
it's
have a lot
donations.
of clothes and
Nobody
jackets.
said anything about purchasing them.
He said that, Commissioner Sorensen said we need to
I said we have to
purchase
do
some
something
clothes
about
for the-
No, nobody
clothing,
said
and it
anything
was
about
under
purchasing. We got plenty of
inmates' expenses.
resources to do it without cost.
Okay, as long as we get it done.
Electronic monitoring, I'm looking to, you can see we really haven't spent a whole lot. I'm looking to expand that for next year, and that's why I want to keep it the same. Electrical expense, you can see is way down from the adopted 90,000 to 74,000.
Wow. Why?
I don't know if there was a change in the electric rate, no idea.
Oh,
That's what
a
we're.
good job. I wish you could find more like that.
And then with the heating as well, you can see that we adopted 97 and projecting for 78 for next year. And we've only spent through the end of October 51,000.
It's colder
But
now.
we're still having December coming up.
Mm.
November and December, we still have the colder months.
Mm-hmm. But even at the end of December of last year, we only spent a little over 105,000.
105, yeah.
Good job, Jason.
So,
But I think that's
105.
with Joe doing the maintenance on them and keeping everything maintained, and the servicing. I think we should.
That's good.
Okay.
Telephone, there's an increase from 6,000 to 7,400, and I don't know if there's been an increase in the Fairpoint rates.
In the rate. Well, again, I wonder.
We
when-
didn't really stand
We
out
have
on
to
that.
go through this year maybe at this, well, it could be a reduced rate with the Spyglass company. If they look at our telephone expenses, they may be able to drop that. I don't know about the jail. I know the sheriff should be dropping quite a bit, but
I can't remember, based on that conversation the other day, if there was a real large impact on our facility.
may not be.
Nothing
I
stood
don't
out.
remember seeing one
Yeah.
on that. But you do have here, the same situation, you got roughly 2 months left, another $1,000 on what you've spent is only $5,600, and you're asking for $1,800 more than
Yeah.
that.
What if we go just with 7,000?
Well, want to just keep it the same as last year, 6,000?
Love to. If you can do it for that.
So if we were spending, well, what, say $460, so add another,
Another $1,200 is only $5,800.
All right, let's go
Keep
with
it-
last year.
keep it the
620?
same, 620?
Laundry expense? You see some purchasing there?
Nope, that's just the rates that we've been getting from General Linen.
Okay.
Why is it up so much? Why is your request up so much?
Still $1,400?
Yeah.
Well, for the last couple of months, we've been spending, and I don't know if there's because I've asked the Lakes Region, the General Linen representative to look into it, because the last couple of months, there's been a pretty big spike. Typically, we've been spending anywhere between $350, $400 a month for sheets and mop heads, and then for the last couple of months, I've been in the $600 and $700 range. So he's looking into that for me. So I just wanted, if that's a trend, then I wanted to make sure that the cost was covered for that.
Okay?
The travel expense, I wanted to do a couple of more shows this year. I wanted to do I didn't go to the AJA conference last year. I wanted to do the AJA and the ACA conferences this year. Just think that going to those type of trainings, we don't have a lot of that level training locally, and exposing staff to that type of training would be beneficial for the facility.
How many people would be going?
I look at what's out there and then assign people to them. And the American Jail Association, I don't think has posted their training academy or the training curriculum for next year. I don't think they do that until closer to the end of the year.
Okay. You all set on vehicles?
Mm-hmm. Yep. I gotta get under vehicle expenses, the 073. I don't know how much we spend in gas, and I gotta get with Kathy on that, because that comes out of this line as well,
Where do you get the gas?
right here at county. So I don't know how much we're charged, so I gotta find out from
Who
Kathy.
delivers the gas here? I just signed a bill for it.
White
Is it
Mountain
Irving?
Oil. White Mountain Oil.
No, they wouldn't
The
provide
gas,
gas.
the gas would be
Yeah, they do.
Eastern,
Yeah.
is it not Eastern propane, the gas?
No, it's not propane, it's gas.
gas. I don't know who
I'm
our
pretty sure it's
supplier
White
is.
Mountain Oil. I was surprised that they have gas, but I think that's what it is. But we already spent $4,000. Yeah, $4,300.
I don't know if some journal entries are in there or not, for that, and that's for the gas itself.
That one's way out of whack too, Jason.
Mm-hmm.
You had another $1,000, you only get 5,300, you're asking for 14,000.
Yep. I was gonna find out again for the gas rates. And then I also wanna put some equipment in there, with respects to the new law for, emergency vehicles. I'm just gonna make sure that they're, outfitted appropriately, with respects to lights and equipment and things of that nature.
Okay.
Okay.
Under the vehicle expenses, do we have the county seal on the doors?
We don't. All of our vehicles are
You don't
unmarked.
want to have those, or
I'd rather not.
for what reason?
Safety and security. I'd rather it just be a low-profile vehicle, not stand out.
But can't they tell by the license plate whether
They
it's a
can, well, they can tell
government?
it's a government plate, but they can't tell if it's a,
house of
Which
correction? or-
right.
Okay.
Generator expense, that's the maintenance contract and fuel for that.
Okay.
Care of grounds, that's for our dumpster
Snow-
fees, snow removal, sand.
Or lack thereof, right?
Plowing.
What else covers that? Sand, salt, that type of stuff.
Okay.
Maintenance and building repair, dropped it down from the adopted 30,000 to 25,000.
Well, that one even looks screwier than the rest.
I don't know why
That would
that
be
is so low.
$9,600 at the end of the year if the accounting is probably,
Mhm.
and you wanna go to 25,000.
Yeah, I gotta look in.
Something wrong there, Jason.
It is wrong, yep.
Well, you look at 211, 34,000.
Yep.
212, 24,000.
Yeah,
And now,
I gotta check that out.
and now it's like 8,000.
Yeah, that's through the end of October.
Yeah.
Equipment and repairs, wanted to have it at $11,700. And that's just for any unforeseen type issues. We've had the dryers break this year, we've had our dishwashers go down, radio equipment, like if we have to replace batteries, antennas, and these are on the portable radios for the officers. Microphones, the extended mics. Any HVAC issues that come up.
Okay. What do you got in the maintenance labor?
That, I asked Will to go back to taking my trash out, and that's what they used to charge us.
Okay.
But I don't know if there's been any discussion like what they do on Grafton County about that in-kind
Value.
budgeting type or value, whatever
Yeah.
that terminology is. So it's not a hit to my budget, but the other departments can show I don't know if you'd call it a revenue or it costs.
It wouldn't be a
X.
revenue, it'd just be it'd be an expense to them to haul it away, but it'd be a value added or value service, value of service.
Well, the trash would be a little different situation. You're growing vegetables on the farm for the nursing home. That's from one pocket to the other. You still got the cost of
Growing it.
whether we pay Will to haul the rubbish away or whether we pay Jason to haul the rubbish away. There's nothing coming back to offset that.
No, you're right. Okay.
And the only thing that I would say is that when we do that, and they use the inmate labor to do it, and I supply the inmate labor, so it's just like, it's.
Supervision. You don't supervise them though, do you?
What's that? No, but
The inmates.
the farm does if they go back to doing it.
Yeah.
So,
Well, then it would show up as, overall budget would show up as a revenue to them. But overall, it would even out.
water usage, keep that the same. I talked to Kathy, and there's no increase in that at all.
Okay.
Photocopier expense, I don't know if there's a bill that's missing out of that. You can see that even the $4,400 requested might be overzealous.
Jason, how many copies you got over there?
I had 4.
4, that's
Mhm.
what I thought.
You need all 4?
There's one in booking, there's one out in the admin area, there's one in the sergeant's area, and there's one in medical. So they're
Yeah, okay,
they're
medical.
scattered
Yeah.
throughout the facility.
Yeah.
And again, they're utilized as printers and copiers, so it's not like every office has one. And then insurance, that went from 16,000 up to 20,000. I don't know why that happened. It was just something from Primex. That's what we were.
Well, that's one, if I were you, I'd talk to Kathy about, because here again, year end is going to be roughly 13,000, and you're asking for 20.
Mhm.
We're looking at a $7,000 difference, and I can't believe your portion of the Primex's apportionment is gonna go up $7,000. I'd ask
Mhm.
her about that one.
Okay.
Leave that as a question mark, that could be reduced. And new equipment,
New equipment, $13,025. And that covers all of our stuff for recertification for firearms, rounds, targets, handcuffs for the staff.
That doesn't sound right, Jason.
no,
What's that?
something,
Handcuffs for the staff, handcuffs for the staff to use.
To use, yeah.
You don't wanna be.
No.
handcuffing us now.
I can get you the list. Sergeant Baker had it broken out.
As I recall, the firearms testing and shooting when Mr. Baker was here was rather expensive.
Mm-hmm. But some of the stuff that we still have in stock, we can utilize that and just replenish it for next year.
And how often do
But
your,
does that go under equipment, new equipment?
well, I wouldn't think so, that was my next question, but anyway, do you have to be certified the same as a sheriff or a law enforcement officer? The same time, I mean, duration, one year or
1 year.
2 years?
Mm-hmm.
You have to do it every year?
Yep. And for TASER, like we carry the TASER as well, so there's mandatory requirements from TASER on how often we get certified, what we have to do to meet that certification. And all that, again, all that stuff is covered under there as well. So the TASER cartridges, we have a couple of batteries that we have to replace for the TASER device.
What would happen if that went under maintenance? You got maintenance / building repairs.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather see a new line item, David.
Well, okay.
That
It's
says
either that or.
firearm certificate, firearm and police or law enforcement certification. That
Well,
would
the
cover
sheriff has-
firearms, it would cover TASER, it would cover whatever else they have to go to.
Under the sheriff's budget, if I heard him correctly, do they have a specific line for that? Or would it
Tell you in a minute, Jason.
be appropriate to mimic that? I don't know if it would be like a subsection of education and training.
They have
Firearm
training
training
and
equipment.
equipment.
Okay.
Maybe
Maybe
would be a
that's,
bad one to put this under in the
Yeah.
jail.
Yeah.
historically, we've always thrown it under new equipment, that's why it's been there.
Right. Is it correct to call a taser a firearm?
No.
Or the,
No, electronic control device, ECD.
how about firearm and electronic training device?
You can do if you want to do lethal and less lethal training, you can call it that.
Do what?
Lethal and less lethal training, and then that would encompass all of it.
Ooh, that's good. Lethal and,
Less lethal.
huh?
Lethal and less lethal.
And less lethal?
And that would cover things like your tasers, your beanbag rounds, different things of that nature. Baton rounds. OC.
Yeah.
I worked that out with Kathy, get a new line item in there and separate that out. Now the big one, information technology. Where did you get that number from?
That number is, we have 2 servers that need to be replaced.
By John?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then the other component of that is the maintenance contract. That's around 17,000 of that. And then the other thing that I actually need to do, is as I was going through my emails, I have to put in an additional 3,000 to cover my maintenance costs for Kronos. So you want to probably increase that to 49,000 from the 46. And then if you,
Where'd you put the Priya?
that's what I was just gonna go back to. We actually skipped over other fees and services under 029. And you wanna increase that by 10, so that'll go up to 67,000. For that.
029,
It's at 57.
029.
make it 67?
Mm-hmm.
You gotta increase it, you said?
Based on the class that we were in yesterday, we have to budget for a PREA audit, and they don't have any standards. The Department of Justice is not setting any standards because it's a free market for auditors to set their own rates.
Unfunded mandate, they call it. By the feds. Federal Department of Justice, right?
I don't have a revenue sheet.
I didn't do a revenue sheet yet, Commissioner, only because the phone is a large component of that.
Yep.
The phone revenue, and we're between, so it's hard for me to project what we're going to
And
have.
last week, what did we do?
Rejected the contract.
Okay, good.
What are you putting now in instead of the 57,000?
It'll be 67. So we increased it.
67?
Yes, ma'am. So without the raises and things of that nature, the budget actually dropped from 3,381,000 to 3.29.
And when you get through chopping the Babson ones here, you go down more,
It'll
right?
go down more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good for you, Jason. Good job.
Okay. Any further questions?
Nope.
No? Thank you, Jason.
Okay.
We'll let you know where we make some additional cuts, I guess,
Okay.
or additions.
Okay.
Don't count on too many of those.
I wasn't banking on it.
Have you done with your union business?
No, I'm gonna go downstairs and do that now, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Keep rolling here, Dave. Public input.
Yep. Public
Or
input.
minutes.
Well, let's do, yeah, okay.
Public-
got the
What do
minutes.
we have? Minutes of public input.
We're going back to minutes, okay? We'll get those out of the way.
Minutes from last week.
Yes.
I'll make a motion, we accept the minutes from last week with, they made one correction, didn't they? Yes, on the last page. Was it? No, it wasn't even a correction. It was where the minutes were. I'll make a motion, we accept the minutes as written.
With the additional page that I gave you?
Yeah, there was additional.
The,
With the additional page.
Okay.
I have mine here somewhere.
additional page come, the minute taker was running late, so she watched the video and then she typed the whole page. That is what she meant by addition.
At the end of the process, let's say clarification on when the public will be able to comment on the budget process. Do that at the end of the process or at the end of the meeting in order to keep the meeting here. That it appeared that the budget was about to undergo a major, beside the influence of creating a central ID department. You made a motion to accept the minutes?
Yeah.
I'll second it. Somewhere in here, with the Registry of Deeds, you were gonna come up with some other
Figures.
no, other companies that deal with the equipment that she was looking for?
Not me.
That's on
Did you
page
give that to
5.
her?
Oh,
Yes,
I suggested that she go online and find it, and I went online and found a whole bunch of places with a one click where they were. That was up, she was gonna do it, but
I thought you were gonna do it and give it to her.
well, okay, I'll just go down and tell her to go online and put in that, whatever it was, and,
All right, and you then want her to put it back out for bids to some of the other companies?
yeah.
How many did you come up with?
There's 2 or 3 pages of them. And like I said, one is a manufacturer, the others are distributors.
So how many do
There's
you
a
want
whole
her
lot,
to,
2 or 3 pages of distributors.
you want
And
her
the
to,
distributors will fight amongst themselves, not the manufacturer.
would you where would you send them to? I mean, if you get 2 pages, you wanna go outside New England?
I'd pick out 3 or 4 in New England or wherever they are,
Okay,
see what they'll charge us.
would you tell her that?
Yes, I will.
Okay. All right, that's one item.
Is there a vote on the minutes?
What's that?
Are you gonna vote on the minutes?
Yeah, I was just
Oh, sorry.
looking at one of the sections in there regarding the,
You're absolutely right.
Registry
I
of
said
Deeds.
I'd do that.
yeah. Any further corrections on the minutes? Actually, there aren't any corrections, so all those in support of the motion to approve the minutes of October 23rd, say aye.
All right,
Aye.
Oppose.
What?
Oppose.
You oppose?
Yep.
why?
Is it-
Another addition is herein, and we have from one person, we have all detailed what we're asking about, and the commissioner statement are
But that's,
not always in.
but it's public comment. We always record public
We
comment.
record public comments, but we don't have to record everything in detail. I think the commission statements are more important than record every sentence from public minutes.
So if I understand you right properly, the commissioner, then we should just be putting in the minutes, what the commissioner is saying and not what the public says?
No, that is not. The way the minutes are written now, if I make my statements, it is not in, or there's only one sentence in. That is how it's get written. but we have from certain individuals, public, every word what is saying, it's in there. I think it's wrong. We need to just put in also the statements what the commissioners are making, and
Okay,
especially
well-
me.
well,
If you see
Commissioner
all the
Kent-
other sets of minutes, you don't see what I'm saying, my public comments, my statements are not in. But we're putting in from public input from certain people, we put now, we have, is it 2 pages? Let me see what we have. We go to public input. Check page 9.
Yeah,
It starts by page 8, it's there a quarter page, then it goes back. Whole page 9, and then we have another page, almost 2.5 page from a person for public input.
and what in here have the has our talented clerk not added that the commissioners said that isn't in here?
Oh, I'm talking about statement for myself, if I ask something and it's not there. Also, the previous set of minutes don't have it.
So you're not gonna approve these minutes because...
I said, I
Excuse
oppose,
me, I have the
said
floor.
no.
So you're not gonna approve these minutes because of something that wasn't put in the minutes 2 weeks ago?
No, I didn't say that.
Well,
I
then
just
what's wrong
mentioned-
with
I just
these?
mentioned other sets here. The description of mine is almost nothing there.
Where? Where are you complaining
The
about?
statements are not in, everything is not there.
What statement of yours is not here?
What I'm saying, I mean, it is only one sentence there.
Where?
Yeah, in the sets of minutes.
Well, show me where.
Yeah, I oppose and that's it.
Okay.
If you look at page 2, and like I mentioned, look how the public input is. The other sets of minutes have the same thing. The other sets of minutes, sometimes the comments what I make is not even there.
Go ahead, Commissioner Babson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I would like to commend the secretary for doing an outstanding job, whether Commissioner Kenney thinks she's got enough publicity in the minutes or not. I think these are the best sets of minutes I've seen here in years, and I don't believe that the clerk needs to be, or the secretary needs to be chastised for not putting in, or putting in too much from one person and not from another. Congratulate her for doing a good job.
Okay, then we'll vote on this. We voted on it already,
We voted.
correct?
2-1.
2-1, thank you.
I don't think the administration
Staple,
is been
that
chastised.
second section.
I think it is important to have the commissioner statements in. I think it's ridiculous
Do you have
that
other
we
minutes?
have 3 pages in from somebody from public input.
Do you have any other minutes you want to bring up?
No, this is the minutes from last week, these are the public minutes, I mean.
And where are the minutes that
We
you were
are
gonna bring up
on
from
time.
downstairs?
You got minutes downstairs you're going to bring up that pertain to 2013?
No.
You said you were, you said you had them.
What?
You said you had the minutes downstairs. What was it, February something
Oh,
and
the
May
minutes
1st?
February
that I,
13th,
the minutes that I
May
needed
3rd.
to check, what Cheryl
10,
said,
16.
that I needed to check 3 sets of minutes, are you talking about that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, I have those downstairs, I believe.
When are you gonna bring them up?
We're going into non-public, so if we're going to non-public, I will bring it up.
Okay.
That's up to the chairman. Perhaps
Any-
he'd like to have you bring them up first, I don't know.
Well, don't
Before
we
we
have
leave,
non-public after this?
before we leave today, you bring them up and we'll take care of them, vote on them.
I think
Any
we
further
already
comments?
vote on it.
Huh?
I think we already vote on it. This is an issue about, she wanted to put it on a website, but I think it is sealed. It is an issue about if it is sealed or not.
Well,
That is the issue.
That's what we have to see.
I guess we have
find
to
out.
see the minutes to decide that. Public input, anybody got any public input?
Did you have some across the hall?
You're gonna be across the street?
Across the hall, right here, when you are done.
Okay.
Well, we're pretty much done if there's no public input. You got public input? All right,
I have some, I was just letting her, because she works here.
all right.
The first thing I wanted to mention is, we are now in week 3 of Abigail Hernandez disappearance in North Conway. And in an effort to try to keep it on top of the public view, and so that people keep talking about it, sharing the information, spreading the images. I'd like to know if the commissioners could put her poster on this building.
Website?
On this building.
Oh,
I don't have a problem
sure,
with it.
yeah.
If I was to send a copy of the FBI PDF file for printing.
Send
is that-
two, so we can put them, well, I guess we could use more, because it'd be on this building, it could be on the nursing home building, and could be on the jail building.
So if I sent the file to the office staff downstairs, could you work out the
They can
logistics
print them
of
off.
where to put it?
Yep,
Okay.
yep, good idea.
Thank you. I was here later past your first public comment. Was there
We
anything?
didn't have any public comments.
Okay,
We went right into the budget.
so you didn't
And
have
we're
any,
running late already,
you
so go
didn't have any
ahead.
commissioners' reports either? Did you mention the awards that were won Monday night?
We were gonna do that.
Okay.
I've got to get downstairs and get the copy that I had typed up this morning.
Oh, okay.
Yes, we will do that.
Okay, I don't want to take away from any things that happened, and you haven't had a chance really to report on how the conference went and the awards and everything, but I just wanted to say I was a little dismayed to learn that some deadlines weren't met, so possibly some departments didn't have any nominations submitted for consideration.
Yeah.
The one department in particular for me was the House of Corrections. If anything, that unit as a whole has undergone peaks, valleys, trials, tribulations, and through it all, they've moved as a team through hirings and firings and resignations and people being plastered in the paper for being charged with crime, their own staff, coming together as a real brother and sisterhood and
Mhm.
sticking with their mission and moving forward. And I think that they do an excellent job, and I wish that perhaps they had been recognized.
HR was responsible for coming up with names for recommendations.
And I understand that the superintendent may have had some training obligations and maybe wasn't able to get the nominations together, but,
Can't answer that question.
so as part of that, there was some talk with the commissioners about maybe having a county-specific annual event. Has there been any more consideration to that?
Yes, in fact, I talked with the correctional officers that were at the meeting yesterday morning, and they're suggesting some kind of a picnic in the summertime whereby we can get everybody. I've talked to the HR about it, and she also would like to have it separated so we can get 2 shifts in, have it so one shift is leaving, one shift's coming on, so that at least 2 shifts of people at the nursing home and at the jail can participate in it. And so, yes, we are talking about it, and yes, we need more recognition for people, and that might be able to be done at that time. But the correctional officers yesterday, one of them suggested, and there were 5 of them there, suggested that we might have a picnic in the summertime.
They weren't from our county,
What?
not from our county.
Yeah. Yeah, we had, because of the correctional officer affiliate yesterday morning,
Oh, okay, I'm with you.
more correctional officers came up just for the day.
I didn't see
For
them,
that.
I didn't know, I thought Jason was the only one that
No,
was there.
no. There were 2 sergeants and a lieutenant, and I guess 3 sergeants and a lieutenant that were there,
Good, good.
plus Jason.
They do a great job down there, most of them, but as a unit, they really are something that we should be proud of. It's not a job that people, most people would want to or could do.
True.
And they deserve recognition for the work that they do.
Mhm.
And speaking on that, how's the process going for hiring a new captain?
Still interviewing?
Okay.
I don't know what I'm allowed to say, but it's going along, and it's going along very well.
Do you have a projected date when you'll make an announcement on the
No.
hiring?
When that committee decides, or when Jason gets through with reviewing and getting comments from outside of the jail from other House of Correctional officers, we'll make that decision.
You expect by the end of the year?
I would think
Oh,
so.
I would say easily,
Yeah.
Melissa.
Yeah,
Easily.
probably in the next couple of weeks.
They're
Okay.
moving into the second phase of the process, so they're closing in on it.
And this is a committee that's making this decision?
That Jason
Or-
and HR put together,
Okay,
and I believe what they've done in the past is they've had other correctional officers from other counties participate in the interviewing process.
And that's what they've done this time.
I might have missed it in the conversation, but recently the sheriff's department took one of their cruisers out of service for their use and
Yep.
I believe gave it to the House of Corrections.
It was transferred to the House of Corrections.
And what is that vehicle being used for? Is that a transport like their normal vehicles, or is that someone's personally assigned
No,
vehicle?
it'd be transported for the jail, it wouldn't be for some individual.
Okay,
Don't hold me to it, but I think it's replacing its predecessor that was over here.
okay.
I'm not positive of that, but I think that's true.
Couple of things about the county website. When the county delegation met on the 21st,
Yeah,
they were talking about the third quarter financials.
yep, that's been
And-
sent out to all delegation members.
And at that meeting, they all,
Said it was gonna go online.
they also said it would be on the website, and it's not there yet.
Okay.
So I would just ask that,
It isn't?
no, I just checked this morning.
Okay.
I think it just went out, I just got a copy of it this morning.
Okay. Just helps as you move through the process, if the public can see the numbers that you're looking at,
Mm-hmm,
so.
yep.
Other things that we're expecting to see, hopefully on the website soon, and maybe you know when, is the RFP for the demolition of the nursing home wings and the performance audit RFP.
The performance audit, where is that? That was,
Was that left up to us to do with the delegation?
no,
The,
that's the delegation's responsibility, but I believe that
We were gonna do
a
it.
delegation member was going to reduce it in size to be published,
Oh, yes.
so that anybody interested could come in and see the full RFP.
That's right.
Right.
I'd be honest, I don't know where that stands. I know Kathy Geary met with a representative that was responsible for it. Where
Okay,
it goes, I don't know.
okay. And
What was the other one?
the demolition of the wings.
Demolition of the wings, we'll put out for bid. And let me say, we've contacted the one that put in the bid before, but I don't want to say what it is because we got to put it out for bid and I don't want anybody else to know what the figure is.
Good.
Okay. That was a close one, good.
You did pretty well for somebody that got here late. You had a lot of questions.
I missed Will's budget presentation.
He wasn't
We
here.
missed him too.
Oh, okay, okay. He was on the agenda, but he wasn't here, not to.
He had a training seminar for the sewer system, so
Okay.
that he had to go to.
So we might have learned when the pole barn is gonna be put back up?
I don't think that's gonna happen this fall. He's been too busy. I think it's gonna start again next spring.
Can you remind me what the pole barn was for?
Yeah, it's for storage and for working on camp firewood
Out of the weather.
out of the weather, so the inmates can work there all winter long. And also store the onion sacks full of wood.
So maybe if we've gone 2 years without it, we don't need it?
No, our other buildings are being filled full of stuff where perhaps some of our equipment should be stored rather than camp firewood.
We were out of hay this time last year, and now the hay barn's full.
So I'm just thinking about this from a simple point that if we've now taken on this enormous obligation to provide firewood for
It's
the whole
not as
state.
enormous as it was thought to be, because I think it was lifted, this bug was quarantined to the Concord area,
Oh,
that's been lifted, and so we have increased it, but not as, increase it as much as it was estimated to be. Okay? That's all I can tell you.
Okay,
Quarantine wasn't lifted. What
It wasn't?
happened is, it was clarified that originally they said no wood could come into Merrimack County, nor could it go out.
Right.
Federal regulations in quarantine says it can come in and you can work on it, and it can go out again. Because I asked a cooperative extension butt lady, I said, how can
Yeah.
that be? If it comes, she said, because the emerald ash borer only attacks live trees. So once they're
Ah.
cut down, there's no danger in hauling them in.
So the borer is not in the firewood that they cut down that they bring in?
That's what she told me, but I have a hard time believing that.
Well, maybe I'm wrong on the quarantine, maybe there wasn't a quarantine to
Yeah.
start with.
There was,
There was?
but it was in and out. Now it's only, you can't take it from Merrimack County, cut it in Merrimack County, and ship it. It's all right to haul it in from anywhere else in the world and chop it up and then send it back out again. You tell me how it works.
okay.
Okay.
So we were increasing the firewood production, and so we needed to buy a wood splitter and build a pole barn, but now we've decreased our wood production, but we still need a pole barn and a wood splitter.
Yes.
Okay,
Well, we've already got the wood splitter.
I know,
Okay.
and that was just part of the sale
Yep.
of it.
Yep.
So,
And now we use our own wood.
okay. The last thing I had was, it's a little sticky, because I'm not really sure how to pose the question, but I'll give it a go.
Do you know the answer to it already?
No, actually, I
Oh,
don't.
okay.
These seem like trick questions.
Yeah, I know. Go ahead.
A while back, some corrections officers put in extra time, so overtime. I don't remember if it was when the superintendent was out or when they were short-staffed because the 3 corrections officers were out. I don't know exactly when. And they were underpaid for their overtime hours, and so recently they were paid, their pay was corrected and they were issued checks.
I believe so.
So that's the part that I know, I think, if you're agreeing with me. Okay.
So what's your
So-
question?
Well, so
Actually,
then,
what is your comment?
no, I actually have a question, and I would
But
just
this is
file.
a comment period.
We're getting to it.
Go
I would
ahead.
file a right to know, but I'm not sure what to ask for, so maybe
Okay.
if I ask the question, you can tell me what to ask for, and we can just go back and forth. So, I would like to know if this is an isolated incident of people not being paid correctly for their overtime, or if it's a broader, more in-depth picture, and we need to do some research to make sure that people have been properly compensated throughout the complex, not only in the last 6 months, but in the last 3 years. Here's what I think happened.
I don't know how to answer that.
Here's what I think happened. There's some more. I guess this is a comment part. I think that people who were working their hours, say they were paid $10 per hour.
Yeah.
And then they picked up an overtime shift differential. So let's say they picked up a weekend shift and it
Yep.
was overtime, and so
Yep.
that made it $11 an hour because it was the differential.
Yeah.
So they should have been paid the $11 an hour plus half for time and a half.
Yeah.
But their overtime was based on their $10 instead of the 11. So they were underpaid. I know that sounds convoluted, but I don't know how else to say it, unless I draw a picture, but there's no markers.
I believe that's been brought to our attention, and I believe it's been straightened out. That's my beliefs. I know it was talked about, and I believe that was taken care of.
I thought it was taken care of.
I did
Until we
too.
were told by the state that we had done it wrong. I don't know. Something happened.
I
No,
think-
no. One of the officers brought it to our attention that, it's complicated, I'll admit. And we said, yes, the officer is true, and we would correct it.
Okay.
So whether that's corrections has been done, I'd have to check on it. But I believe that's what happened. It was
So-
brought to our attention, and we agreed that it was a mistake or something, that it wasn't paid out like it should have been, and I believe it was corrected.
And I think what was brought to your attention, and you've discussed it in a public meeting, so this isn't anything crazy, but I think what was brought to you was just looking specific at that point in time, for that circumstance, for that set
That's
of
true.
people.
That's true.
What I'm concerned about is the greater implication this may have because of past practice and the way I always thought it was supposed to be done, or the way I've always done it. If people were paid in the past, either at the nursing home,
Yeah.
the dispatch, the jail,
Yep.
and their overtime was based on their base pay instead of their base plus differential, when the calculation was done,
Mm-hmm.
I think we owe people money, and I'm concerned about the budget impact, and if anyone is looking into that. And I think the statute of limitations on something like this is 3 years, but I don't know labor law for certain.
Yeah.
And
Well, let me tell you that.
first of all, if people have not been paid what they're owed, they've been treated unfairly.
Have you
They
got
may not know-
documentation on that?
I would file a right to know request, and I would ask you for 60,000 pieces of paper to sit down and calculate everybody's payroll over the last 3 years.
Well, just help us out.
So I don't know what to ask for, I guess, is why.
If you know of somebody that was not paid correctly, that has complained to you, let us know so we can correct it.
I-
Why don't they complain to us?
I-
But
No one-
let us correct it. I mean, if we're not doing something right, and we're not
Yeah.
using their shift differential,
So the county was well represented there. We did get 2 awards, 2 employees get
Right,
awards.
we always come back with awards, that's good.
Yeah, so the county was well represented.
So I'm glad that someone took the time to nominate them, and I heard Commissioner Babson got an award as well.
I'm not an employee, so I don't count.
Yeah, I had the HR coming up to me, Winette, because she was, I believe, on the committee for an award. And she had the paperwork with her, and she said 2 employees are getting the award. So if the employees, you hear Carroll County, I have to go in front and just present it to the other commission the awards.
The Presidential Service Award, Commissioner Babson, is that what it's called? That you received?
President's Award, I think.
You didn't get a plaque? You don't know?
Yes, I got a plaque.
And I'm assuming that's for your devotion to county service over the last, how many years?
Well, I guess it's been about 8 now, if you don't count the House of Representatives and the delegation.
How long were you in the House of Representatives?
Either 12 or 14 years, 12, I think.
Okay.
I took some time off, so lost track. Melissa, I wanted to, your comment.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So, being ever so humble.
I wanted to say, I take umbrage with the fact that you called the county out for shorting the employees. Shorting the employees, shorting has a connotation of, I think, of trying to cheat them. And we haven't done that at all. I wasn't here when this went on. In the past, I'm responsible from January on, but it certainly wasn't done with a behind the doors secret meeting where you can see if we can beat the employees out of some money. If I done
that out?
No, no. I just want you to know, if there's been a mistake, we'll try to make it right, and it was not done on purpose or with malice. We have good employees, and the last thing we want to do is short them. And I hope if you write an article, you don't use that word. Nobody here that knows the employees better than you do, probably, and you know that we've got good employees, and we're not here to cheat them.
I don't think it was anything that was done purposely, so if the word shorting indicated that, I'm sorry. That was not my intent. If there's
You
been...
didn't use it in malice, in other words.
Right, if there's been an
I
error,
accept that.
if there's been an error, they're valuable and they deserve for it to be corrected.
Okay, we all set with that one?
Yeah.
All right, Monday evening, we had a banquet, and 3 people were recognized from Carroll County. Becky Mason was awarded a Employee of the Year award for her outstanding performance as the Director of Nursing at the nursing home.
Employee of the nursing.
Huh?
Employee of the nursing home.
And-
That was
okay.
the award.
Yep. And Kathy Geary was recognized for her outstanding performance, also as an employee award. I, as the president of the association, it goes on and on. I'm just telling you who got it and not why they got it, but they were both outstanding employees. I'm not sure who else was recommended, but anyway. I, as the president of the New Hampshire Association of Counties, have a special award that I give out at the annual meeting. And this year, I just gave it to you. I recognized Commissioner Babson for his outstanding work, not only at the county, but at the town and at the state level. You can read it for yourself, you can print it, whatever you want to do. I've done my best to try to explain what he has been involved in. I could be corrected on a couple of the items that I wasn't sure on, but I think I covered it quite well. It was the last award to be presented. I think my wife tells me that it was very quiet during that presentation, at the site of other presentations. He was recognized, and I believe he got a standing ovation for the recognition, and he made a few comments at the end. But I think those were the 3 people that were recognized at this year's meeting. Okay?
I have a question. And
You got a
who did
question?
you give the award last year?
What's that?
Who did you give the award last year?
I didn't give one last year.
You didn't give one
No.
last year?
No.
And the other years before,
Yes,
did they?
the nursing home administrator from Grafton County was recognized.
Yeah, but
And
she-
she also gave an award to,
But she
I'm not
falls
sure.
on the nursing home administrator of the year.
she was the president of the New Hampshire Association of
Oh,
Counties.
did
The
she give,
administrator.
did she give awards?
She gave an award out,
Oh,
yep.
okay, so last year there was no one, and this year you gave one out,
Right.
correct?
Yep. Other years, other years, presidents gave out their award. Okay?
Yeah.
You want to give a report on the meeting? I'm not sure what you did while I was gone, but
No, we just,
you got to leave in a few minutes,
Yeah.
but let's give some quick reports. The one I attended, let's see, which one did I go? Roads, Registry of Deeds. Managing individual and organizational performance. I went through, it was given by Ty Gagne from Primex. I picked up some good information from that one. I also attended another one that was given by Mike Ricker. Be careful what you sign, dealt with contracts, making sure that if you have a contract, you might want to pass it through an attorney, basically. But there's a whole section on that one. The last one that I attended to, which was yesterday afternoon, was the one on this PREA whereby it's a federal government unfunded mandate regarding rape victims in the jail. And that we're going to have to come up with money for. Most other counties are in the same boat. I think most of them are budgeting around $10,000 for this audit. This auditor, they only have 40 for all of the country right now. But my understanding is there's 2 training programs coming up, and there's going to be 100 people that are going to be trained at each of these. So now we're talking about 240. It's through the Department of Justice. That's who they're accountable to. That's why I asked the question, who are these people accounted to? Anyway, but they can set their own rate, their hourly rate. If they come from New York or Pennsylvania or someplace, we'd put it out for bid to those people that are available, that have been certified. And they can charge pretty much whatever they want to. It's really ridiculous. Again, it's an unfunded mandate that we're going to have to do. It's required that we have to do it. Department of Justice wouldn't listen to the objections of this particular act. And they just decided that we're not listening to you, we're going to do it anyway, so that's what they did. So those are the 3 basic ones that I attended. You have a report?
Yes. The morning one, I attended, I picked this up, and it was a program on, it said IT and iPads. And I said, boy, that sounds pretty good. Well, I went, and it was very, very interesting. It had to do with law enforcement carrying iPads and iPhones and smartphones, and connecting the whole thing up with a company named Zyco from Hudson that's made hundreds of applications. And this one is really, I'm going to talk to the sheriff about it, because he ought to have the gentleman come in and speak to him, and then if it's worthwhile, talk to the chiefs of police. This application, if there's a hostage taking in an area, they can push one button and it'll tell you immediately where it is. They can take pictures and put it on the iPad. They can even push the button and tell them within a quarter of a mile how many residents in that area have been criminals or are criminals or have criminal records, and what crime. If the road's blocked off, they immediately know it from this application. It had everything on it. The flip side of that coin is, it scared me how much law enforcement must know about me and other people with a push of a button. But from the safety for a law enforcement individual, I can't see that it isn't really a step forward, and that it might even be able to replace some of this expensive radio equipment we have, because there aren't too many blind spots for cell phone or satellite internet. That was my morning application.
Yes.
Before you ask the question, you have a meeting you want to report on?
Well, I went there to Whitefield, and I attended the Commissioners' Council meeting. I attended also the update about employment law that was given by Liz Bailey and her partner. And I attended the reception, and I attended the awards.
Go ahead.
You gave your whole days.
What's that?
You gave your whole days itinerary, right?
Yeah.
After the IT meeting, I attended the breakout on drug courts, and we're fortunate to have in this county Judge Horan here that was instrumental in the Stratford program, which has been so successful. Grafton County is the only other county with a drug court, and they're finding their program to be very, very successful. They've even set up a 501c3 nonprofit to help fund activities for the drug court. You know, they, in some cases, bought cars for the people getting out. They paid insurance. They paid tuition to college with this, with these funds. And the diversion, I think they said it's 99% successful as opposed to other programs we have. I got interested in it about 3 years ago, when I was the chairman of the jail subcommittee, and Jason asked me, Superintendent Johnson asked me to get out of Stratford County. And up until that day, I'd been a firm believer in the best way to stop crime is to throw them in jail and throw away the key. And when I came out of that, after what I saw down there, it changed my whole view on the correctional system. I think it's to me, it's evil that we send people out on bracelets and use it as a revenue source rather than an escrow account to help these kids when they get out. There's other things that we can do. Sergeant Phillips or Lieutenant Phillips, I can't keep track of the titles, has got a program going on making better choices. That's successful. And I'm just a firm believer now in the drug court, and I intend to go over and see Judge Horan and see what it would take to get one going in this county. And then I went to the one on, what was this one, Dave?
That was the commissioners.
Commissioners on Medicaid long-term care and financing costs. Well, I want to tell you, I don't believe there were too many people in that room that were commissioners that completely understood what was going on. Basically, it's showing what it costs to house somebody in a public facility versus a county owned.
Public versus private. You're right. Go ahead.
2011, it cost for a county, it was $134 a day and change. It was $56 in 2011 in private. Projected for 2023, $202 a day for the county and $85 for private, which led to a little bit of discussion that maybe in our next meetings, we should be considering whether the county should be into the nursing home business at all. That brought in some of the DAES or DEAS payments that we're paying ours. Again, this year is up another $200,000, and we have no idea what we're paying for. Overall, I was really impressed with the conference. We had a chance to talk to the superintendent of Coos County House of Correction. They're even running a seven-town recycling center. Interesting enough, they're considering going back into the livestock business at their facility because of the push for locally grown farm to restaurant. I don't want to say push again, but that's what it is. But these were very, very, very interesting breakout sessions. I think I had 2 complaints. The sound wasn't all that good, and the good breakout sessions overlapped, so you couldn't be in 2 places at one time.
Yeah.
But the Hershey chocolates were good.
I think I attended that session as well as Asha too, regarding long-term care. It came down to the point that the state Health and Human Services Department are pushing to have more people stay at home and to take, my understanding is to take money away from a county nursing home and put it towards more home care. On the other hand, I'm saying that there are a lot of people that are in our nursing home that couldn't stay at home. And the thing was brought up, and there was several people that said, we can't eliminate nursing homes. But they're not gonna be able to take care of them at home. There's always gonna be people that are gonna have to be in a nursing home. So if we shut down the county nursing homes, who's gonna pick those people up? The private, okay? The private people are in there for profit. And some of these figures, I don't think add up. They're charging less per room, per day, I should say, than the counties are. But how can they be making a profit? There's gotta be cut someplace else, either in food quality or in attendance that. Employees that help the residents. There's figures that are wrong in that document. And was one, I think he was a representative that was on this committee to look into it, and he said he wouldn't sign what is coming out of it because there was a whole lot of things that were not being considered, basically.
That was the majority assistant leader that signed it, I believe. It wasn't Mr. Spratt from?
Yeah, it was a minority
Yep.
leader
Assistant.
in the House?
Yep.
Okay. Anyway, he was really good. He just said, he was on it, they had a meeting in September, called quickly, and he just did not agree with any of the figures, and therefore, he's not gonna be signing any report, and we'll be following up later. I talked with him later at an event and told him I supported him 100%, look into it in further detail and come up with something that's really accurate. So, does that cover our annual meeting?
Yep.
Question?
Thank you. About your unfunded federal mandate,
Yep,
any aggression of the federal government,
yep.
why don't you come up with a resolution on behalf of the people to say no?
Mm-hmm.
That's your duty.
I'm sure when the delegation comes to approve that particular figure, they're gonna say it's unfunded.
We don't have to allow the government to continue to push us around.
Well, that's true, I agree. And it's gonna be.
The form of government is upside down, and it's up to us to straighten that out. And secondly, Commissioner Babson, on the program, there was a presentation on surveillance and so forth with the police that you mentioned.
Yes.
All too often, it's felt by society that the police are being militarized. And a lot of this technical programs of technology can one day certainly be used against the good people of society, not just ones that had a criminal past. We need to be careful in selecting some of these programs that they're not used inadvertently against us.
Maybe you didn't understand what I said, John. I said the flip side was how much they knew about.
Exactly, and I'm in agreement with you, and I'm just
I'm not
carrying
sure.
on your statement.
Other than the safety fact for law enforcement, it was pretty intrusive.
I agree. I'm just continuing your point, that I'm in agreement with you, and I don't think it's a safe thing for society overall. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody got any further comments? Was there any other business we had to bring up?
I'll make a motion to go into non-public.
Okay. For, you got
Let's get the
something?
reasons.
Yeah, I just had a question. Last year, we got a letter from the Ossipee Police Department. I believe it was about a complaint that we had to look into it. I don't believe that I signed anything. Did we ever responded to that department?
What are you talking
Because you
about?
had a letter that you showed me. I just want to know if we actually responded to the Ossipee Police Department.
Do you know what it was in regards to?
Yeah, it was, I believe they were complaining about a lack of cooperation about certain individuals, and they sent a complaint to the commissioners. I
Was
just
it a-
want to know,
Why are we bringing it up 10 months later?
No, I just asked, I don't know if a letter went out to them. I just, because I read my notes, and I remember I didn't sign anything. So I wondered, did you send the letter out to them?
I don't think so.
Okay,
I think it wasn't it in regards to the sheriff's department?
Yes.
I don't think it was the sheriff's.
I think it
It was
was.
to the jail, wasn't it, going in and signing in and somebody wouldn't take them in or something, I don't know.
No, I don't think it was that. Anyway, but
Well,
you have the
You come up
letter.
with a reason and we'll find it.
You have the letter.
Okay, anything, you want to go to non-public?
You want to go in non-public?
I'll second the motion. Any further discussion? And this is for personnel at the jail? Or,
And what's
In
that,
the jail?
is that gonna come under, what, A?
91A and G.
What?
91A and G.
A
Sorry,
and G?
E and G, sorry, E and G.
B and G?
E and G.
C and G.
I thought it was B and C, but, okay. All right, roll call. I'll second the motion. Roll call?
Commissioner Kenney?
Yes.
Commissioner Sorensen?
Yes.
And Commissioner Babson?
Yes?
So voted then. We're non-public.
You have a time.
You need to bring up those 3 minutes, February 13th,
Oh,
May
the people
1st,
grab them now.
October
Yeah,
16th,
yeah.
okay?
David, I gotta get out of here.